Hey, what's up, everyone? I wanted to do a second video for brevity purposes. I wanted to make this one shorter than the last. The initial video is a bit longer and it goes into more detail. I go into more detail, but this one is just going to be a quick, couple of minutes overview of what I'm seeing here, and just wanted to highlight a few things. One is I noticed that in the list, in under the liens category, the 2,500 plus properties, okay, in this list, on property number 7 in the state of Missouri, this is Jackson County, Missouri, there's a property that has a lien in the amount of $4,000 plus dollars, and the lien type says county/city tax lien. Now, remember in the meeting, I said that we don't, in the state of Missouri, they don't do tax liens. So this verbiage here might look a little confusing. If you see this in your list, you might think, oh, well, there's a tax lien on this property. Well, that may or may not be true. Okay, so in the state of Missouri, like I said, Missouri doesn't do that. And unless something changed, I was pretty certain about that. But just to be absolutely 100% certain, I went and did a quick search using the primary source of truth, which is the public records for Jackson County, Missouri. And every county has a public records, or should have a public records portal where you can search. It depends on how slow or how advanced your city might be. But anyway, I came here and did a quick search using a few pieces of information, and I validated that this is not, in fact, a delinquent tax lien, but this is a different type of lien, and you can see those details here when you click on details. Under the lien details tab, this is the lien amount and the lien type. Now it says tax type. Now that might look a little confusing, but here's what I want you to understand. This is specifically an unpaid water and sewer lien, okay? Remember we talked about the sanitization, or was it not sanitization, sanitation lien on another property. So I wanted to highlight that and call that out in this video, to demonstrate that, or just call it out in this video. So it says unpaid water and sewer, and you see there's two: lien 1, lien 2, same amount, same type. Okay, and add these two together, you'll get this $4,270. Okay. Now, why is it showing under tax type, you might ask? Well, there's a good explanation for that. And I actually provided that explanation in the wholesaling channel. I did make a mistake and I called that out, that I confused the sanitation lien with a code violation lien, but we can talk about that later. The gist of it is that the sanitation lien is unpaid sewer charges. Now, depending on the type of lien, okay, in the city, the state, the jurisdiction, they can treat certain liens the same as they do tax liens, okay, or delinquent taxes. In the state of Missouri, a code violation can be treated the same as a tax lien. They can actually apply a tax debt on the property and collect under the same guidelines as delinquent taxes in this jurisdiction. So that's probably why they added it under this tax type. So as I looked here, I checked out the Missouri state statute, which is this, this number, and it talks about and goes into how they actually treat that and the process by which the jurisdiction can use to collect. And so I highlighted that, hey, this type of lien can be enforced by suit or foreclosure. And there's some other details here and how long it takes, and things of that nature. So wanted to call that out quickly. Another thing, wait, let me make sure I covered everything. So this is not a delinquent tax lien, but it could be treated as a delinquent tax lien or collected under the same guidelines as a delinquent tax. Um, uh, yeah. So the next thing I wanted to call out is I noticed under this property that there is, under ownership information, says the owner is Angela Miller. Now, remember, I told you all that the source of truth, we need a source of truth. Where do these software programs or applications like Propstream or PropWriter get their data from? Now, what I like about these applications is they're convenient. Why? What is the convenience they offer? They offer the to do a lot of the legwork that we'd have to do, or that I used to have to do, or any other investor before me had to do, back in the day before the Propstream existed, right? We'd have to check out various sources to collect this information. And it's a pain. It is a pain. It is a hassle and it's tedious work. But if you wanted to find a good deal, this is what you needed to do. Now, applications like Propstream came along and they took all of that information from those various sources and aggregated into one place and one convenient location for investors to be able to explore. Now, the only caveat there is it may or may not be up to date, okay, because the data source might have guidelines as to how often they're going to update Propstream or PropWire. And I kind of touched on this many meetings back, or many meetings ago. But just keep that in mind. The information contained within the details may or may not be up to date. So you need a source of truth. And it might require us to check out various sources to verify. In this case, I wanted to verify the lien type, as we just did, and the property details. Notice that in the public records, I think I forgot to mention this. In the public records, there is no lien type under this owner, Ralph McDonald, and for this particular property in the Highview subdivision. Okay, this is the same property. I went and checked all three of these earlier before doing this video. Now, if there was a lien, you'll see the document type, it would say lien of some sort. Okay, if I go to refine search, you'll see the types of document types that are available. And there's a whole list here, as you can see by the scroll bar here. There's a whole list. And you'll see there's different types of liens that you can select. But instead of selecting a lien type, I just went ahead and typed in the original owner and the subdivision, hit search to see what all documents came up. And only these three, as you can see, there are no delinquent tax liens. But as we validated, this is an unpaid water and sewer tax lien. Okay, so does that make sense? So now that we have that information, we're wanting to verify, wait, it's saying that the owner is actually Angela Miller. But when we go to the source of truth, the actual owner is Ralph McDonald. And Ralph McDonald did not assign this property, 2526 Denver, to a Angela Miller. But the public records, which is the source of truth that you can count on, shows a beneficiary deed that was completed and recorded on in 2012. And you can see here that he didn't assign this to a Angela Miller, but he did in fact assign it to a Felicia Miller. And upon his death, it would go to the rights of this property would transfer to Felicia Miller. And it's not only that property, but there's several other properties here, as you can see in this list, commonly known as, commonly known as, commonly known as, and the one in question. Okay, so that's the quick call out I wanted to show you all. So it's definitely convenient to have applications like Propstream and PropWire, because gathering all of this information across various sources would be a hassle. But if there's any particular thing that we want to validate, then we would definitely need to go into the source of, identify the source of truth. In this particular case, I saw something that caught my attention, which is this here and this verbiage here. And I'm like, wait, we don't do tax liens for delinquent property taxes. So I went here just to double check and validate for you all in our public records to validate what I said was true, just in case anything might have changed recently. And there's no delinquent tax lien documents recorded here under this property. Okay. And then I noticed that saw something else here. Was the owner name mentioned here? Now, we do see that the original buyer last arm's length sale information does show Ralph McDonald, but here it shows Angela Miller. And I think what happened here is, depending on how Propstream is pulling data, where else are you going to record this information? They could have probably did a better job of identifying or specifying who this Angela Miller person is. But what I believe happened, judging by this tab, the information under this tab for lien details, is when I see this tells me utilities, and the one who actually applied this lien or requested this lien be filed is the water department. And look who the debtor is, Angela Miller. So that to me is a sign that this Angela Miller person is not an owner, but they're in fact renting the property from Ralph, which is the person who assigned or created the beneficiary deed in 2012 and assigned to Felicia to pass the rights upon his death to Felicia Miller. Okay, so can't be Angela Miller, because this is our source of truth. Can't be Angela. All right. So that's how we know that this information is not completely accurate, that Angela is more likely a renter living in the property and is in fact a family member to Ralph and to this person, Felicia, judging by the last name, right? Could be a sister, auntie, who knows? But obviously it appears that they're all family, because Ralph, in fact, got this from some Rebecca McDonald in 1998, along with a list of properties that you can see here. Oh, wait, what is this? I'm sorry, not this one. Not 1998, but 02. So he got this from Rebecca McDonald, and there's a list of properties here. Okay, track 1, and then if we go all the way to page 5, track 34. So he got 34 properties from Rebecca. So just wanted to call those two things out. And whenever you see something that you're a little fishy on, or if the potential end buyer is asking you questions about, hey, are you certain that this information is accurate? Then you can just say, yeah, let me double check on that and I'll get back with you. And then you can go to whatever the source of truth is. And obviously I can help you all out with identifying, because I have a pretty good idea where to go to get this information. But for the most part, we'll identify where the main source of truth is for any particular piece of information, so we can give that to the potential end buyer. All right. Any questions, please put them in the wholesaling channel, because your question might be shared among other members in that channel. And when we come up with the answers to these questions, everyone could be synchronized on the answers to those questions, and not, repeat asking the same questions that have already been answered in a private discussion. So let's put it in a public discussion, so that we can keep track of all the questions that we have and document this at a later point. All right, so I hope this makes sense. Just to recap, I came here, I noticed in the list of liens, properties with liens, that I came across this property here, 2526 Denver Ave. It showed a lien amount of this, and it said the lien type was county/city tax. So I was like, wait, in the state of Missouri, we don't do delinquent tax liens. Missouri just simply forecloses on the property and auctions the properties off in that process for the amount owed for taxes, delinquent taxes. So I went to the public records to double check to make sure that, because, hey, laws change. But as we see here, there are no tax liens recorded here. And anyway, when we go to the property details, we discover under the lien details tab, this is not an actual tax lien, but it is a lien or fine for unpaid water and sewer services. Now, but it says tax type, and that can also be confusing. And so if you I went to the Missouri state statutes under delinquent taxes and sanitation services. These are the Missouri state statutes that you can see here, missouri.gov. Here's the state statute, the statute number, and it provides a bunch of details here. And what you'll see is that under these statutes, there's a process by which the jurisdiction can collect. Okay, as you can see here, what happens during delinquency. And they can treat many of these delinquencies or collect under the same guidelines as delinquent taxes. Now, in the state of Missouri, delinquent taxes, the jurisdiction has the authority to foreclose on the property. Now, that's obviously the worst case scenario. The state of Missouri does not want to do that, but they have the authority to do that, and they will give the owner ample chances to try to remedy the delinquent taxes. But you get 3 years for that. And after that 3 years, it's pretty much a done deal. Now, they will foreclose on the property, and in that process, that just simply means they'll auction the property off for the amount of delinquent taxes owed, did I say that right? For the amount of taxes owed, that's obviously delinquent for the past 3 years in the state of Missouri. It could be 2 years in another state or another county, but in the state of Missouri, for Jackson County, it's 3 years. So just wanted to call that out. And that was a quick summary or recap of what we talked about today, or what I wanted to call out today. Just those two things that I noticed. All right. So till the next video, if I see anything else, I'll create another video, similar to this. All right. Thanks.